Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's discussion from Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are going to be beginning chapter 11, the universal form, and we will be covering verses 1 to 14 today. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hari Om. That's it. Verse 1 to 4 is Arjun's request to Lord Krishna. So verse 1, Madanugrahaya paramam guhyam adhyatma sangeetam yatva yoktam vachastena mohoyam vigato mama. Arjun said, by my hearing the instructions you have kindly given me about these most confidential spiritual subjects, my illusion has now been dispelled. Verse 2, Bhavapyayau hi bhutanam shrutau vistarasho maya tvattah kamalapatraksha mahatmaya mapichavyayam. O lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity and have realized your inexhaustible glories. Verse 3, Evam metad yathatha tvama tvamaatmanam parameshvara drashtu michhami te rupam aishwaram purushottamam. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. Verse 4, Manayase yadi tachakyam maya drashto miti prabho yogeshvara tato me tvam darshayatman mavyayam. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that unlimited universal self. Verse 5, Pashya me partha rupani shata shotha saharsashah nana vidhani divyani nana varnakriti cha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjun, O son of Pritha, see now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of varied, divine and multicolored forms. Verse 6, Pashyadityan vasuna rudran shvino marutstatha bahunyadrishta purvani pasyascharyani bharata. O best of the Bharats, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashwini Kumars and all other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one else has ever seen or heard of before. Verse 7, Ihe kastham jagat kritsannam pashyadya sacharacharam mama dehe gudakesha yachanyad drashtu michhasi. O Arjun, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place. Verse 8, Natu mam shakyase drishtu nenaiva swachakshusha divyam dadami te chakshuhu pashyame yogamaishwaram. But you cannot see me with your present eyes, therefore I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. Verse 9, Eva muktva tato rajan mahayogeshwaro harihi darshaya masa parthaya paramam rupamaishwaram. Sanjay said, O king, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjun. Verse 10 and 11, अनेक वक्त्र नयनम अनेकाद्भुत दर्शनम अनेक दिव्याभरणम दिव्यानेकोद्यतायुधम दिव्यमाल्याम्बरधरम दिव्यगन्धानुलेपनम सर्वाश्चर्यमयं देवमनन्तं विश्वतोमुखम्. Translation: Arjun saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared all over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding. Verse 12. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhavedyug Paduthita Yadi Bhasrid Sadrishi Sasyad Bhasastasya Mahatmanah. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. Verse 13. Tatraikastham jagat kritsannam pravibhakta mane kada apashya yadevadevasya sharire pandavstada. All at that time Arjun could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Verse 14. Tatah sa vismaya vishto Rishtaroma Dhananjaya Pranamay Shirasa Devam Kritanjal Jalirabhashata. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjun bowed his head to offer obeisances. With folded hands, began to pray to the Supreme Lord. So, in the verses 1 to 4 in chapter 11, the title of this chapter is The Universal Form, or the Virat Roop, as we say in Hindi. Arjun is requesting Lord that, and he's saying in the first verse that by hearing the instructions, you have kindly given me the most confidential spiritual subjects, and his illusion has dispelled, and he is understood that Krishna is not just a human being or just a friend of his, but he is the source of everything. So everything emanates from Krishna. He has understood this. Now he'll be requesting Lord to show his or reveal his universal form to him. Krishna will reveal that to Arjun, but Krishna will have to give him divine eyes, because Arjun won't be able to see with the eyes. He has the divine form, and Bhagwan will change then from the universal form back to his original form. In verse 2, Arjun says, O lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every entity, and have realized your endless or inexhaustible glories. Krishna has told Arjun in the previous chapter, chapter 10, which was the opulence of the Absolute, that Krishna is the source of the appearance and disappearance of the entire material manifestation. And remember, in chapter 9, Prabhupada is reminding us that Krishna told that Krishna is all-pervading. He is everywhere, yet he is not present personally everywhere. But that is the inconceivable opulence. And Arjun, he has understood all this so far. In verse 3, Arjun says, O greatest of all personalities of supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. He wants to see that form of Bhagwan. That in the beginning, when this world is manifested after getting annihilated before, how Krishna enters into the whole cosmic manifestation. Lord says that he entered the material universe by his personal representation, and the cosmic manifestation has been going on and on forever. Now, to reveal the universal form, it won't be just a child's play that, okay, Bhagwan will reveal it and Arjun will be able to see. So, Krishna is going to decide whether one is qualified or not qualified for that darshan of that, revelation of that universal form. So, if we desire, then if we are qualified, we will be reveal that form. But we can't just demand from God that, okay, Krishna, show me your universal form, or I just want to say it, so please present that in front of me. It doesn't happen like that. So in this verse 4, Arjun is requesting further that Yogeshwar, because Lord has got all the inconceivable powers, so he's also known as Yogeshwar. He shows that if he likes, if Krishna likes, Krishna can reveal himself by his grace through his unlimited, that he is unlimited. And Arjun is pleading in verses 1 to 4 that Krishna, please reveal that to me. And he's not demanding or ordering Krishna here. He has completely surrendered himself. He has understood that devotional services is required to please Krishna. So now he's asking like a surrendered devotee this request. In verses 5 to 8, Krishna's description of the universal form will be revealed. In verse 5, Bhagavan says to Arjun, O son of Pritha, see in my opulences hundreds of thousands of varied, divine and multicolor forms. So this universal form is not something which is eternally always there in the spiritual sky like Krishna's other forms which are there in the spiritual sky. And Arjun wanted to see him, so Krishna is going to reveal this to him. This is not possible for any ordinary person, because like Krishna says, will be telling us now that we can't see the universal form with the ordinary eyes, material eyes. In verse 6, Krishna is saying to Arjun, O best of the Bharatas, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashwini Kumars and all of the demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which one has never seen or heard before. So whenever we see something new, we try to make sense of that new thing with the previous knowledge we have of the or the expressions which are connected to this new thing or new form. Now Arjun also has got no previous knowledge of all this, so it is very difficult for someone who is going to see the universal form and just make understanding of the universal form there and then. In verse 7, Krishna is going to show said to Arjun that you can see this form of mine. Krishna says to Arjun, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place. So this is a very big thing for Arjun. For what he's going to see, Krishna is guiding Arjun that he will be seeing everything moving and non-moving in one place. So Krishna is going to give him the power to see anything he wants to see, past, present and future. And devotee like Arjun, Prabhupada says, can see everything that exists in any part of the universe. This is also a very big thing, that to be able to see the whole universe sitting in one place. In verse 8, Bhagavan says, you cannot see me with your present eyes, therefore I give you divine eyes, behold my mystic opulence. So this verse is quite self-explanatory in itself. So Arjun needs transcendental vision, and only then he will be able to see those transcendental features of Bhagavan. In Bhagavatam, it is stated that boys who played with Krishna are all highly pious souls, and after many births, they are able to play with Krishna, because to be able to spend their childhood and their times with Krishna is, or in any relationship with Krishna, when Krishna came in Vraja, is not just a child's play. Those people must have done really pious deeds, must have led really highly devoted lives towards Krishna, that they were given this benediction to be able to spend their time with Krishna. Itham satam brahma sukhanubhutaya dasyam gatanam par devatena maya shritanam nara darakena sakam vijraha krita punya punjaha. Here is the Supreme Person who is considered the impersonal Brahman by great sages, the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotees, and a product of material nature by ordinary man. Now these boys who have performed many pious activities in their past lives are playing with that Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 12, Verse 11. A devotee is never concerned with the Vishwarup or the universal form of Bhagavan, but Arjun, he wanted to see the universal form, just to further understand the statements given by Bhagavan up to now in Bhagavad Gita, up to chapter 10. So Arjun wants to see, because Arjun is the beginning of the parampara system again, which had been lost, which used to be continued, but it became lost. And again, in the Mahabharata, Bhagavan wanted to revive this parampara system, that Bhagavan is passing all the knowledge to his disciple, and it will carry on from guru to disciple in this way, in a disciplic succession or in a parampara system. Now in verses 9 to 14, Sanjay is going to describe the universal form to us. Now again, Sanjay is going to speak verses 9 to 14. In verse 9, Sanjay said, obviously to Dhritarashtra, because he's describing the events to Dhritarashtra, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjun. This is verse 9, and now verses 10 to 11. He's describing Arjun saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited legs and other manifestations, and these were distributed throughout the universe by the grace of the Lord. Arjun could see them while sitting in one place. This was all due to the inconceivable potency of Krishna. Arjun was able to see. Arjun was given the special powers. In verse 12, Sanjay is further describing, if hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, the radiance might resemble the effulgence of Supreme Personality in that universal form. So what Arjun saw was not easily describable. It wasn't very easy to make a narration of it, but Sanjay was trying to give some kind of picture to Dhritarashtra. Now Sanjay has been given the power by Vyasadeva that he can see whatever will happen in the battlefield. So he's comparing that this situation is just like thousands of suns have come out. And in verse 13, he's further describing that Arjun could see the universal form of the Lord's unlimited expansion of the universe, situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. So Arjun and Krishna, we can just imagine they are sitting in the same chariot, and Arjun is able to see all the Vishwarup, or the universal form of Bhagwan, and the others on the battlefield, they all have been kind of frozen. When this narration of Bhagavad Gita began in the battlefield, they don't know what's going on. They've just stood still in the time on their chariots, or whichever position they were stood. So Arjun can see thousands of planets in the body of Krishna, and many planets, many universes, and some of them are made of earth, some gold, some of jewel, and some are great and some are not so great. In the Prabhupada is telling us. So sitting on this chariot, Arjun could see everything, but no one else could understand what was going on between Arjun and Krishna. In verse 14, finally, the final verse of today's discussion, Sanjay is further describing that then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjun bowed his head to offer obeisances. With folded hands, began to pray to Supreme Lord. So once the divine form has been revealed to Arjun, the relationship between Krishna and Arjun is going to change immediately. Previously, it was based on friendship. Now, after the revelation of this universal form, or the Vishwarup, Arjun has got a lot of respect, lot of admiration, and he is praying to Krishna with folded hands, and he's also praising the universal form. And now the relationship has become of some kind of wonder or awe than just a friendship. Now, Krishna is the reservoir of all the relationships for the devotees, and there are 12 basic kinds of relationships, and all of them, all the relationships are present in Krishna. Krishna is the ocean of all the relationships, and all that the exchanges between the two living entities, between the gods, between the Supreme God and his devotees. And Arjun has been completely inspired by the darshans of by the manifestations, or by the revelation of this universal form, or the Vishwarup. He was, Prabhupada says in the purport, very sober and calm by nature, but after seeing the universal form, the Vishwarup, his hair have stood up, and he's become really ecstatic, and he's He's very reverent to Bhagwan as well. He's offering his respects, his obeisances, his pranams, and but at the same time, he is not afraid. So his relationship, which was that of friendship with Krishna up to now, was very much overwhelmed. He was because he had seen whatever he had heard from Bhagwan, he had now been able to see with the divine vision given by Bhagwan to him. So he was in a state of ecstasy, in a state of overwhelmed, and we won't say it excited, but he's had a completely different kind of experience which we can't even imagine. So we will continue from verse 15 next time. Now we will hear Arjun's description of universal form. So from verses 10 to 14 we heard Sanjay describing the universal form to Dhritarashtra, but now from verses 15 to 31 we will hear Arjun describing the universal form. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.